The worlds are waiting, so let's get going. Hi friends, welcome back to Pages and Chaos. And I decided that I was going to do something that I probably shouldn't be doing. I am participating for the first time ever in the Amazing Readathon. I don't know why I thought that this was a great time to do that with the end of the year chaos at work and my summer classes that I'm taking for library and information science. I don't know, but you know what? It seemed like so much fun. I always wanted to join and I decided to give it a try. So if you have not done the Amazing Readathon before, this is a readathon hosted and created by Bree at Four Paws in a Book, and she has modeled this off of one of her favorite shows, The Amazing Race. And I always see everybody participating, having so much fun. I've never really watched The Amazing Race, but I always wanted to give this readathon a try. And what really made me decide to join this year is that she added a non-competitive team to the readathon. So I figured this is the perfect time to step in to see how it works and see if it's something that I would really enjoy and maybe try to join a competitive team next year. So this year she based her destinations off of magical worlds. The worlds are waiting, as she has created a logo with a portal, and I absolutely love this. And I can't wait to see what worlds we get to travel to. Each prompt that she gives us is a different leg of the race, and it will take us to a different destination. Now, she did say that this year the rules are a little different. She gave us the leg prompts ahead of time. We just don't know what order they're going to drop. And then when you get to each site, you get to read some books that would fit sightseeing prompts. And I thought this was so fun and so cool. Now, I'm part of the Pathfinders, so for us, there's technically no rules. We do not have to follow the order. We could read the prompts out of order. We could skip prompts. We can do kind of just all of the elements of the readathon without the competition. I think as she puts it, all vibes. And Krista at Books and Jams, who you guys know that I'm friends with and been following for many, many years, is actually one of the co-hosts of that group. So I had to join and see what it was like. And I am going to follow the prompts in order, or attempt to, and do all of the elements of the readathon and see if it's something that I can handle. So maybe next year I can join a competitive team. So I'm going to give you the prompts. Again, we won't know what order these prompts are going to drop until we get to that leg. And some of the books that I have decided to hopefully read for that prompt. Remember, I'm a mood reader, so all of this could change. Now, there are a lot of elements to this readathon. We get things like roadblocks and detours and all of these things to kind of set us up for the fun. Each team does also have a bonus prompt, but because we're on the Pathfinders, we don't have any bonus prompt that would get us extra points. But we can still record our points and kind of see for our own stats where we fall. But one of the things that Bree did say that everyone would get extra points for would be if we read a book that has some type of LGBT representation, whether that's in the book or in, the author who wrote the book, whatever it may be, because we are in June and it is Pride Month. So one of the books that I do plan on reading in June, if you've seen my last video, is The House on the Cerulean Sea. This actually does have LGBT representation, and this would fit that bonus prompt. However, I'm not exactly sure where this would fit in terms of the leg prompt or maybe a sightseeing prompt. I'm not sure yet. I'm definitely reading it this month because it is my booktuber recommendation month book pick, but I'm hoping that I could also count it for the readathon and see where it could fit in which prompt, maybe a sightseeing prompt. So the first prompt that I have on my list here is a book with a green cover. And for that, I'm going to possibly read Famous for a Living. This was one of the books that I had in my pile over here of Once Upon a Book Club and Owl Crate boxes that I ordered when they were on sale and never actually opened them. So I am going to make it a point by the end of the summer to get through. I think there's 4 books total that I have. So this was one of those books. So Famous for a Living is about Kat, who is famous for making social media posts. She's an influencer. She has created a business through this, and she has a partner who gets caught up in some kind of like scandal and things like that. So now she kind of has to hide away to protect her reputation until her name could be cleared. So she goes to visit her uncle, and he is a park ranger, and she basically is going to figure out how to use social media to help him. I read a few reviews about this, and I read like the that was the bookmark, like the card here. And I think that this book is going to have a really great message because Melissa Ferguson talks about living fully, enjoying every moment. And I took a little peek at like some of the discussion questions where she really focuses on the addiction to our phones and social media and how that can lead us to miss out on the greater things of life. So I am excited to read this and to see what this is all about. The next prompt is a cozy book. And for this, I'm going to read Killer Kung Pao. Now, this is one of the unofficial buddy reads in the Comfy Cozy Book Club. And I'm going to continue with the series because I actually enjoyed the book that I read last month. We're on book 6 now. I did not enjoy book 4. I actually DNF'd it and then I came back to it to just finish it out. And I read book 5 and I really enjoyed book 5. So I am going to continue, especially because a lot of people are saying that this book is really fun. And a lot of people that have read this series already love the 6th book. So I am going to read this one for that prompt. So the next prompt is a book with a romance. And I have 2 possibilities for that prompt. So first up is An Ember in the Ashes. And this is actually going to be a buddy read with a few people here on BookTube. I think Krista and I forget who else. But this is actually going to be 1 book per month. So we're starting with June with the first book, An Ember in Ashes. So I'm going to pick this up anyway. And because it says that it has a romance in it, I figured this would be perfect for that prompt. So this is about Leia or Laya. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce her name, but she lives basically under this martial law empire. And her brother is arrested for treason, and she turns to the rebels for help in trying to rescue him. When she does that, she meets Elias, who is a very skilled, well-trained soldier. It doesn't say much about that. It's just that he's the school's finest soldier and secretly most unwilling. So, you know, kind of like a forced training type of situation here, and I'm really excited to pick this one up. I was picking this one up anyway, and it just so happens to fit one of the prompts. I might also try to pick up Daughter of Diamonds by J. Gabriel Gates. This is the 3rd book in his Luck God series, and I keep putting it off, not because I don't want to read the series, just because I get caught up with so many other things, and there is a romance in here. I'm not going to tell you too much about this book because it'll be spoilers for book 1 and 2, but let's just say there is a romance between Aggie and one of the heart gods in the book. So that could also fit for this prompt. Next up is a book with a violent word in the title. And for that, I am going to read The Thursday Murder Club. This is actually the Comfy Cozy Book Club's June pick. So this is really exciting that I get to read it and fulfill not only a prompt for the Amazing Readathon, but also read it for the book club. Now, I am not sure how this is going to go. This is from the library. That's why it's so beat up. But I read We Solve Murders by Richard Osman. I enjoyed it, but there was so much going on. A lot of characters. Each chapter is a back and forth between the different stories of the characters, and it was a little difficult to follow along. I did enjoy the story. At one point, I just stopped trying to figure out the connections between everybody because that was confusing me more than just reading and enjoying the story. And I heard that that might be the case with this one too, and then that's just like his style of writing. So I enjoyed that one. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. So I think I'm gonna enjoy this one as well as far as like the actual story. I'm just gonna see if it's gonna be better if I read with my eyes or listen mostly on audio, because I actually did immersion reading with We Solve Murders. I was reading with my eyes as I was listening to the audiobook at the same time. So I might have to do that with this one as well. But anyway, We Solve Murders is about these 4 people in a retirement home who meet every Thursday to solve murders, these old files and these old cold cases, and they are going to spend their time researching and trying to solve these murders until one day they come across a current live murder with I think his name, I don't know if they say his name, but they just said a local developer, and there's this mysterious photograph that's next to him, and they find their first live case, and they're going to try to solve that. So the next prompt is a book with a godly or celestial word in the title, and for that, I'm going to read The Crescent Moon Tea Room. This is a cozy fantasy. I bought this like randomly on one of my Barnes & Noble trips, and it was definitely a cover buy, but I love cozy fantasies. So this is about the Quigley triplets. They are witch triplets, and they run this tea room where, you know, their customers are just there to have a lovely time. But they get called in front of the witch council, where they're told that the city's diviner has lost their powers. So now they have to try to figure out what's going on. And I think it says solve a family curse that threatens to split them apart, and you know, follow the paths of their own destiny. So I'm excited to read this one, and it seems like it'll be a pretty quick read. The next prompt is a book that was shorter than the last book you read, and I think no matter what leg this comes out and when it's released, my book that I have chosen for this will fit that prompt, because this book is actually only 209 pages. So that is The Rainfall Market. And I, again, picked this up purely as a cover buy. This is another cozy fantasy. It says, if you could swap your life for a better one, which would you choose? And basically the patrons of this Rainfall Market are there to decide what they're going to do, if they're going to change one thing about their life. And there's a magical cat companion. Like, it is just so lovely and cozy. Now, even though this was in the adult section, I did read a lot of reviews that this should probably be more of a YA, and that it is written in a way that seems very YA, not adult. So I'm going to go into it with that mindset, and hopefully it'll just be an enjoyable read. I know nothing about it except what I just found when I picked it up randomly at Barnes & Noble. The next prompt is a book that has an over-the-top cover, and for that, I am going to choose The Honey Witch. This is another cozy fantasy. I guess I'm just in a cozy fantasy mood lately, so we got like 3 of them on my list already. But this is actually, in my opinion, a very over-the-top cover. There are a lot of flowers on there. There's just a lot going on, and I can't wait to pick this up. This will also fit the LGBT representation bonus, so I'm excited about that. But this is about Marigold, who is the new Honey Witch, and she takes up all of her training and tries to figure out her newfound magic, but it does come with a price that she can't fall in love, or I believe no one can fall in love with her. And then you have Lottie, who is the town skeptic in magic, and she's just a grumpy woman. And Lottie is basically resisting the fact that Marigold is proving to her that magic is real. And so this is going to go on that journey of Marigold trying to prove to her that magic is real, but also at the risk of going against this curse that she has. So I'm excited to pick that one up. The next prompt is a book that takes place in the big city, or a big city. And I have 2 books that could fit this prompt. And both of these books actually take place in New York City. Now, it doesn't have to be like a real big city. It could be a fantasy fictional big city, but I'm going to pick up possibly one of these. So the first book that I could possibly read for this prompt is The Passion Project. And this is about Bennett, who is failing miserably at her life in New York City. And she gets set up on a date with Henry, and she drunkenly confesses that she is not ready for love. She also has no passions in life. She really just doesn't have any interest in doing anything anymore. And she and Henry set out on this adventure to find her passions. They start this project to find out what her passions are, but along the way they find out that there's some, secrets as to why she's struggling so much, and they start to come to light. I think this is going to be a really fun, quick read, but also have some good representation and plot points. I'm hoping that is like on the same level as Catherine Center or Abby Jimenez, but I'm excited to pick this up. The other book that I could read for this prompt is The Lions of Fifth Avenue by Fiona Davis, and I've read 2 books by her already and absolutely love them, so I figured I have to give this a try. So this takes place in 1913 and in 1993. If you've never read her books before, they're always dual timeline books, or at least the ones that I've read so far. So this is about Laura, who in 1913, her husband is the superintendent of the New York Public Library, the famous one with the lions out front, you know, Lions of Fifth Avenue. But anyway, she winds up joining this radical women's group where they are encouraged to speak out for women's rights and for the rights to vote and all of these things. But unfortunately, you know, there seems to be some type of conflict when rare books go missing from the public library, and now she has to figure out, you know, what happened. Like, is that from her group? What happened with that? And she has to confront that decision, whether she's going to support the group or support her husband. And then her granddaughter in 1993 gets a job at the same library, and she already has this legacy for her famous grandmother and grandfather, the superintendent, and things like that. But now manuscripts and notes and things start going missing, and now her job is at risk. So she's trying to uncover what's happening with that, and she starts to find out secrets about what happened back in 1913. Now, there are 2 more prompts in this readathon, and I don't have any books picked out for that. So I'm like, what would fit? Also, I don't know what I'm in the mood to read. So those 2 prompts are a book with a wintry or chilling setting and a book that has a lowest rating that you think you're still going to enjoy. I don't have anything for these. I figured when those prompts drop, I'll just see what I have. The whole goal of this readathon is to read, for me, from the books that I have. I am not going to be taking out any new books except for like the ones that I got, like the Thursday Murder Club or Ember and Ashes, because they are buddy reads. But I am not looking to get any new books added. I really want to read what is on my shelves and, you know, get to dwindling down these books that I have to read or want to read, not have to read. But anyway, when those books, those prompts drop, I will see what I have and see what I'm interested in reading when it comes to that. But if you have any suggestions for books that would fit those 2 prompts, let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear them. So again, that's a book that has a lowest rating on like Goodreads, but something that I still think I would enjoy. So if you think that there's a book that I would enjoy, but you know, has not a good rating reputation, let me know. And then a book with a chilling or wintry setting. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you've read any of these books that I do have picked out, let me know your thoughts on those as well. Did I create a good pile of possibilities for the Amazing Readathon? Also, let me know, are you participating? What group are you part of? I'd love to hear that as well. And if you're just here to watch and you really don't feel like commenting, but you want to let me know that you watched this video, then put some type of magical emoji down in the comments. There's a whole bunch of them, like crystal balls and a magic wand and things like that, dragons, anything that deals with the magical realms that we are going to travel to during this readathon. Well, that's all I have for now. Bye.